All right. Can you hear me? Am I on?
No.
I don't think I am. No, he saw me. He knows.
You want me to do it
There
for
you
you
go.
now?
All right.
Now you're on.
All right. Can you hear me?
No, I can do it. Never mind. Ding dong.
Hello?
From the calendar, but
I don't think it's on.
It's not,
I'll steal it from
not up. You gotta turn the volume up.
38.
Test.
Hello?
1, 2.
I have a lot of tabs open.
Hello?
From the last
You're on.
meeting.
I'm on.
Dana's on.
I'm on.
I can hear
Oh,
myself.
you can hear?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Test.
there we are.
There you go.
All right.
Then everybody will go home.
You
All
hear
right.
Now, Vinny?
Can you hear it? You guys can all hear me, right? Okay.
And we're back.
All right, and we are ready to get started. Good evening. At this time, I'm going to call the Hamilton Wenham Regional School Committee meeting to order on Thursday, April 7th, 2022 at 7:02 p.m. And I'd like to start off. I will invite you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Welcome. So first up on our agenda, before we get started, I want to let everyone know that this meeting is being recorded and it's also being live streamed on HWCam. And we will get started with citizens' comments. If you wish to speak, I ask you to remember to identify yourself by name and address, and please spell your name for us so that our recording secretary can record accurately your name. I'd ask speakers to limit your comments to 3 minutes. And please know that this is our opportunity to listen to you. And we look forward to hearing what you have to say. I didn't actually ask anyone to be a timer. Anna, would you be a timer? Would you mind? Thank you. So if you are speaking, Anna will give you a little heads up with 30 seconds left, and then let you know if your 3 minutes expires. So for those people who are on Zoom, we will open the comments to people on Zoom as well, citizens' comments. And after the comments are over, we'll close that Zoom link. And if you want to continue to watch the meeting, you can do that on HWCam on YouTube. Okay, so let's start with anyone in the room. If there's anyone in the room who would like to offer a comment, please approach the podium.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Elena Walsh, A-L-A-I-N-A, W-A-L-S-H. I live at 35 Postgate Road in Hamilton. Just want to say a couple quick things. It seems to be becoming more and more clear that there continues to be lack of understanding in this community surrounding the importance of displaying the pride flag and safe space symbols in schools. In the state of Massachusetts, there's a Safe Schools program for LGBTQAI+ students. What that means is that the state of Massachusetts and the Department of Education run a program that provides a range of services to help schools implement state laws impacting students, as well as trainings, curriculum resources, etc. It was founded in 1993, so it's not new, and it was in response to concerns about youth suicides and other extremely concerning factors for our kids. The plan helps schools follow state laws that protect everyone, including anti-bullying law, gender identity law, and student anti-discrimination law. I feel like it's important to emphasize the fact that diversity, inclusion, safe space symbols, etc., in this plan in its entirety are not new, nor are they specific to Hamilton and Wenham schools. These laws and plans will stay in place regardless of who the school committee members are, and they're designed to keep our children safe so that they can focus on their learning. As a parent and a teacher, I was taken back by the conversations surrounding values in schools. Values are not only written into our curriculum, but again, they are written into our state laws, such as the student rights laws. Especially for our younger grades, we have social emotional curriculum that we follow every year, and we are constantly teaching students values, empathy, sharing, kindness, etc. We're modeling and prompting functional communication and helping students to navigate social situations daily. Unfortunately, for far too many students, the reality is that school is their safe place. Academic success keeps being brought up, but it is achieved through creating welcoming and safe learning environments for all students. That is how students thrive. What I don't think people understand is that while we have a great reputation academically, Hamilton and Wenham are not seen as the accepting, diverse, wonderful places
30
we want them
seconds.
to be. Our neighboring towns are watching us closely, especially right now, and we already have a reputation for being behind the times. Whether or not residents choose to acknowledge the existence of harassment, bullying, and discrimination, we continue to lose students who have had negative experiences to schools like Pingree that are truly invested in actively addressing equity and inclusion. I want to point out that this is a community issue as a whole, and
That's
not
3
directed
minutes.
to all of the school committee. Thank you for all that you do. I know that your time is unpaid and very stressful. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, if there's anyone else in the room who would like to speak, I invite you to step up to the podium. Okay. Mr. Tracy, do we have anyone on Zoom who would like to offer a public comment?
If you are on Zoom and you'd like to offer public comment, please use the raise your hand feature.
Okay. All right. Looks like that is the end of public comments for now, and we will close that Zoom link. All right. Thank you all. Next up, we have our review of school committee protocols, as we do at each meeting, and I have asked Anna to read today.
Thank you, Dana. As elected members of the Hamilton-Wenham Regional School Committee, we, including the superintendent, accept the high honor and trust that has been placed in us to ensure that the students of the district receive the best education possible. To that end, we hereby commit to the following in the conduct of our business. Number 8, school committee members will vote according to their convictions, will avoid bias, and will uphold and support the decisions of the majority of the committee once a decision has been made. Positions will not be used for personal or partisan gain.
Thank you. Okay, so next on our agenda, we have 3 really important people that we want to take a moment to recognize for their service. Okay, so David, Michelle, and Michelle, we want to say thank you for your many years, all of you, of service. We want to say thank you for always putting the students first. Thank you for listening. Thank all of you for caring. And thank all of you for being brave and bold and standing up for what you believe in. You all have in the past, and I know, we all know, that you will continue to in the future, selflessly give of your time and your talents in dedication to your community. And we are grateful. Thank you.
You guys are stuck with me.
Hopefully. There was not a word of goodbye in that at all.
Is that what I jump in?
Yes, please, Eric.
So I also wanted to take a moment for this opportunity to just say thank you as well as someone who has been in the district for now 9 years and kind of seen the comings and goings and the commitments and the, you know, the ups, the downs, and the middles, and I really appreciate all of you welcoming me, kind of guiding me, and figuring out what, you know, what the right directions are. And I think it's been a fantastic shift, if you will. I think things have pointed in the right direction. We're starting to move that ship in the right direction, and lots of work still to do. And you know, I wish the two of you success and good luck, and I know I'll see you in the future. And David, we wish you good luck this evening and see what happens. But I really want you to know how important each of you was for my transition into superintendency. So thank you. We have a little gift, but we'll just give you a peek. They're wrapped up for a reason, because I would probably ruin them on the way over, but these are little just succulent bowls just to say thank you, and there are 3 different ones for your service here. We'll let you pick which one you want, because they're all different, and we didn't want to decide. We figured it would be good. But thank you all.
Is there one more prickly than the other?
Yes.
Is that the thing? Okay.
Is one that'll wait years?
They are succulents, David. They last a long
We
time.
last.
May I say something?
Certainly.
I would also just like to say thank you, especially to Michelle Horgan, who I worked with on the policy subcommittee for so long. And it's really slow, boring work, but Michelle and I have worked well together, and I really have appreciated your wisdom and your tenure in the district. You know things that have happened years ago that for someone newer to the community just wouldn't know. And I really appreciate the way you've always brought that to the table. So I just want to say thank you. And to Michelle Bailey, who I think the community knows we don't always agree, but we actually do agree on a lot of things. But I have to say, I don't think until you've been on the school committee you understand just how hard it is. And I cannot fathom how much time both you and David have put in, just the duration of time. And I think that it's really important to recognize the sacrifice, personally, that you've made to your jobs, your family, your mental health, your physical health. It's remarkable how long you've been at this and how hard it's been. And even though you and I tend to butt heads, I have so much respect for your service and your commitment and your intelligence. And you're honestly one of the smartest people I have ever met. And I think the committee will really miss your grit and tenacity and your impeccable understanding of Robert's rules. And I think everyone needs to hear us say that out loud. So thank you. And David, I do hope you win, but if you don't, I feel very similarly about you. Tremendous knowledge and a beacon of commitment to the district in so many ways. And I know this community has been served well because of your willingness to continue to put yourself out year after year. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, moving on. All right. Next up, we have our consent agenda. There are quite a few things on the consent agenda. Does anyone have a hold that they would like to put on any of those items? Michelle Horgan?
Just the March 17th workshop meetings, please.
Okay. Anyone else?
I also wanted to hold the minute meetings.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Jen, I think we're ready for a motion. It sounds like the only thing we're holding are the March 17th workshop minutes.
Just the workshop minutes?
I would like to hold the minutes,
Oh, I'm
not the
sorry.
workshop minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so we're holding all of the minutes. Thank you for that clarification.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as written, with the exception of the hold on the minutes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Anna Siedzik. All those in favor? All right, and that is unanimous, and the motion passes. Michelle Horgan, what did you want to say about the workshop minutes?
Just a quick addition, Michelle Bailey was there, arriving at around 6:45.
Okay.
That's it.
You are correct about that. Yes, that did in fact happen. Okay, I can edit that. All right, Anna?
For the actual minutes, one of them, some of them are important, some of them are not. One of them is, I just think it's important, Chris Damaraki's name is misspelled. It looks like it's Damarki, but I think we should try to get it right, Damaraki. Under the section on the discussion of the policy, I just want to note because they were comments I was making, where it says there is brief discussion focused on the pride flag display, inclusion, etc. I actually would like to specifically add that there was also discussion of the DESE Safe Schools program for LGBTQ students, and I read rather extensively from that statutory guidance, so I just feel like the et cetera is not quite complete enough. I'd like to have it be specific that I read from the LGBTQ Safe Schools program. That was one change I would like to make. And again, minor on the topics for future meetings, the progress flag is missing an S, and I would like to have the S added. That's it.
Oh, it's just a typo. Okay.
It's just a typo.
Okay. Jen, do you feel like you got those?
No, but if she gives me that piece of paper, I will. I'll fix these.
All right.
I wasn't present at that meeting, so
Okay.
I apologize.
All right. So I think maybe we need, does anyone have any questions or comments about any of those things? Because we could make one motion if we,
Well, I have a question. So are the minutes being approved now?
No.
no, I think we could, I actually think we could make a motion, if you guys are comfortable, I think we could make a motion to approve the workshop minutes with the
Okay.
minor edit. So we could do that, right? It's an,
How does that spell?
and it sounds like maybe the second minutes need to come back with the edits. All right. So Jen, could we have one motion on the workshop?
I move that we accept the workshop minutes with the aforementioned changes.
Second.
Second by David Polito. Is there any further discussion on the workshop minutes? All right, all those in favor? All right, and that passes, and that motion passes, and I will make those edits. And then the March 17th minutes, it sounds like we can bring them back next meeting.
Yep, totally.
All right. Okay. All right. Next up is new business. Mr. Tracy.
You want to switch seats? Well,
Which seats with me?
I'm going to stand over there.
Oh.
Microphones, I should say. Tonight, it gives me great pleasure to be here to present the annual Certificate of Academic Excellence, which is offered by the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents, given to each superintendent in every district in the Commonwealth, to give to a student who has the highest levels of academic excellence. And tonight, I will be awarding this to Luke Mcmahon. Let me tell you a little bit about Luke. Luke is a well-rounded, collaborative, and self-motivated member of the community. Luke possesses a genuine love of learning. He is highly disciplined, passionate, and possesses a very calm demeanor. In addition to earning the title of valedictorian of the class of 2022, he also tends to his mental and physical well-being. He loves to run, read, and spend time with his peers. Luke has a library at home filled with classics and modern literature. He is passionate about writing. He spends hours writing fictional stories. He appreciates being able to reflect on history to influence and educate his contemporary understanding of issues. His National History Day involvement resulted in 3rd place nationally. Luke's likable personality combined with his natural leadership skills have helped him with many group projects. Luke is quick to answer the call when his peers request tutoring. His efforts at the Accord Food Pantry have increased his awareness of community and duty to serve those in need. In addition to volunteering at the food pantry, Luke has helped to organize the political club at the high school and compete for both our cross-country and track teams. Luke's involvement as captain of the political club has given him greater connection to and understanding of the state of the nation. The size of the club has doubled under Luke's leadership. When the track season was canceled last spring, Luke obtained a job as a dishwasher at the Essex Country Club. Working in the kitchen of the country club has been an eye-opener for Luke. where he's surrounded by people from different countries, socioeconomic classes, and cultures. While not limited to these, his interests include communications, political science, foreign films, and astronomy. Luke has proven himself to be an excellent student athlete, upstanding member of the Hamilton Wenham community, and his leaderships have grown significantly over the past few years. So I appreciate all that Luke has done and will continue to do, and congratulations, and thank you for everything you do for our schools and our community. Congratulations, Luke. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tracy. And thank you, Luke, for joining us this evening. It makes a big difference in the work that we do to get to see the students be honored and achieve such great things. Thank you very much. Okay.
Can I just say also thank you?
Absolutely.
Congratulations to the parents, to Matt and Linda McMahon for, yeah, I know. Just well done, well done.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michelle. All right. And are we going to have, is it Craig?
Yep.
All right, and Mr. Genualdo, you are up next.
Sorry, I didn't know who you were looking for when you said Mr. Genualdo. Thank you so much for having us, as always. I think with all the thanks to the school committee members, especially the ones that have been here forever, I know over the years when I first started, we didn't do things like this, and I've always felt like the school committee has welcomed us and has welcomed issues and has most importantly welcomed our student athletes to these meetings to be honored and recognized, and always in the spirit of being near their teammates, right? These young men and women and these student athletes have gone above and beyond and excelled in ways that most of us can't. But I think the most important thing is that they're representative of all those that aren't here as well. And I think they all embody that. And so as we meet them tonight and as we introduce them, I just want to kind of color it that way. And you know, the reason why we love doing what we're doing. We have a few different teams, and then I'll mention some names at the end. But I do have a couple coaches here. The first coach I want to bring up is our boys hockey coach, Rob Ryan, who has been our head coach since we rebooted the program in about 2015. For the first time since 2005, we were league champs. In 2015 and 16, we had a JV team. In 2017, we didn't win a game. And then going from that to league champs in such a short time is incredible. I'm gonna let him introduce the kids. He won't say his own name. He was named Coach of the Year, which he would never say in 1,000 years, and probably I'm worried he's gonna come up here and beat me up. But I'm gonna have him come up here and introduce the kids' names. And so Rob Ryan.
Well, thanks for having us here. We've come a long way. This was a very successful year as far as awards. League, first time in the league, championship. Played in a bank tournament, championship. Played in a Christmas tournament, championship. Made the state tournament. These guys specifically in the last 4 years had 3 opportunities to qualify for the state tournament. They did it 3 times in a row. You can't do that without leadership. So, just to point out, Zach, could you stand up for a minute? Rafi Santametta, who's not here, is Seamus Heaney. These were our leaders this year. These were our captains. These are the guys that started from the top, started as freshmen, and set the track for the next generation, which I want to also stand up, will be our next assistant captain. Future looks bright for us. Things that these guys accomplished. Zach was also awarded, he was recognized by the rest of the Cal Conference as the All-Conference All-Star MVP. In addition to that, both Zach and Willie, both of them were All-Stars, including Salem Evening News All-Stars. The leadership doesn't end there. Seamus Heaney he's not here, that wasn't able to make it this evening, but he was recognized by the MIAA and the Boston Bruins as the Sportsman of the Sportsmanship Award. So our future looks bright. We continue. We appreciate your support of our program, and we'll be back next year.
Stealing my stuff. Next up, I would like to introduce our girls basketball head coach, Mark Cole. the girls' basketball team this year had one of their more successful years in recent memory. As it turned out, the Baker division, which is the division we're in with the smaller schools, was actually a lot stronger than the Kinney division, which is the large. Amesbury, who was in our league, won the state championship, and they won by like 35 points. And it's who we ultimately fell to in the state tournament. But they did make the Elite Eight, which is the farthest they've gone in a long, long time. So I'd like to have Mark Cole come up here, also Cal Coach of the Year.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I think we were here maybe 5 years ago, our first year. I've been with the program since the 2017-18 season. I previously coached in Gloucester with John Flanagan, and Thanksgiving weekend we got a call from Craig wanting to know if we'd be interested in coaching basketball starting Monday. So we actually started on Tuesday. That first year we had 3 seniors, 3 sophomores, 3 freshmen, and a boatload of 8th graders. 5 years from there, those 8th graders are now seniors. We had 9 seniors on this year's squad, which is unheard of. Like Craig said, we had a very good year. We finished up 17-6. We did make it to the Elite Eight of the tournament, where unfortunately we had to play Amesbury for the 4th time this year. We did beat them once, and I think it was a turning point for us, but it was also a turning point for them because it kind of woke them up a little bit. And they ended up beating us a couple of times after that. But I just wanted to recognize the 3 senior captains we had. All 3 started as 8th graders. Jane McGuire, who played soccer this fall, won the state championship this fall. Kaylee Whelan and Krista Coffey. All 3 of those girls, like I said, started in the 8th grade. All 3 played at least 3 to 4 years of varsity, and their leadership was key this year. You wouldn't think so with 9 seniors, but with 9 seniors, you needed somebody to keep everybody in line, and those 3 did an excellent job doing that. So thank you again for having us, and hopefully we'll be back next year as well.
All right, one more team-focused recognition, and then we're going to get into some individual accomplishments. They're not here at the moment, but just as important as wins and losses and Cape Ann League championships and state tournament runs and things, our girls' indoor track team did win the Cal Sportsmanship Award. They're not here tonight, but I did want to recognize head coach Steve Sawyer and the captains Ava Cody, Jessica Cooper, and Claire Kurger. So congratulations to them as well for that awesome honor. All right, so some quick individual things, and then we'll let you get on about your meeting. We do have one additional Cape Ann League Performer of the Year, Micah Katz. If you could stand up. Micah, for the 2nd year in a row, was named Cal Diver of the Year. Maybe 3rd year in a row? 4th year in a row. See, shows you what I know. I mean, since he's come on the scene, I know he's been dominant. I know he's made huge state tournament runs. Recently, with the limits to crowd capacity and things, I actually watched on the live stream and was, you know, he looked like a pretzel going in 7 different directions. I was watching like this. I was getting nervous, but he hit the water flawlessly the day of the state tournament, and I know he has a huge, huge, huge career ahead of him in college, but congratulations to Micah on an incredible year and career. Congratulations, guys. All right, and now just finally, we're just going to name from each team the league-named All-Stars. There are, just for clarification, there are Salem News All-Stars. They're not done running their awards yet, so what we have here is the league-named All-Stars that the coaches kind of vote on. Certainly, we try to tweet out the kids that win the ones from the newspaper, but did want to rip through these, and at the end, we can hold our applause, and at the end, give them one big round of applause. All these folks and student athletes are league all-stars. From boys basketball, Marcus Norden. From girls basketball, Jane McGuire. From hockey, Zach Wallace, Will Stinson, Seamus Heaney. From girls hockey at Marblehead, Hannah Savulis. Gymnastics is Georgia Greaves. Boys swim and dive is Micah Katz, and girls swim and dive is Riley Reeder and Catherine Reed. Congratulations to all the student athletes that are here watching at home and that competed this winter. Thank you very much for your time, Dave. Good luck. And Michelle, I hope you're not far. I hope, there's times when we can still talk. It's been an honor to work with you both. So good luck, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's going.
Hmm?
Where does he think he's going?
Never know.
Thank you for that, and thank you to all of the athletes who came this evening. It means a lot to us to get to see you and meet you and hear about your accomplishments. Thank you so much.
It's okay, you can leave.
Yeah,
guys don't-
absolutely. You do not
Go
feel
do your
like-
homework.
We know you have. We know you all have
Go be
things to do.
students.
Okay.
They were like, wait, we have to stay.
All right. I think isn't it
Very,
Craig
very
still?
sweet.
What?
Who's talking next to this?
Is it Craig?
Don't we need Craig?
Yeah.
Wait, we need
Hey.
Craig. for the-
Craig.
All right, you grab
He's
Craig.
just. He's right there. I think
Oh,
he's just
okay.
saying.
Did Craig leave?
No, he's just saying goodbye.
No, he's just holding the door.
Yeah.
Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen.
Yeah. Exactly.
I thought he was staying.
We're like, where do you think you're going?
We need you for the next.
You're up next.
Clobber him, but now that we cleared the room.
You smell.
Now we're back to normal.
Now we're back to normal. Yeah, bye.
Sorry, I forgot I was on the agenda for this. I was trying to memorize names all day. So the request that's in front of you is a request for the baseball team who plays their varsity games at Patton Park. I don't know if that's a distinction that matters, that it's on campus or off campus. It's a school event, so we wanted to do it. They want to make game-by-game rosters. It's not the typical program that we generally bring before you. That's like a one book for the whole year. It's a game sheet with the roster on our team from one side, the other team from the other side. Has a couple things at the top. Volleyball has done this in the past. I don't think basketball did it once, but they usually do the books. But it's just a simple front and back piece of paper with an ad or two on it. And where it's a school event, we wanted to make sure we got it in front of you.
Okay. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take a motion, and then if you can stay here in case anyone has any questions. So Jen, would you be willing to make a motion?
I move that we accept the request from the baseball team to include advertisements with their programs.
Second.
Second by Michelle Horgan. All right, does anyone have any questions on this? Michelle Bailey.
So normally, when we get a request like this, we have a list of potential advertisers. Who's going to be reviewing that list?
It can be anyone you want. I would usually do it. If it needs to be myself, Brian, and Eric, or some combination of that, as long as they're comfortable with that, I'm fine with it. And I can work on getting that list once. They didn't want to go out and get all the donations before we approved it, so I can get that list for you as soon as we have it.
I just feel like somebody needs to look over
Yeah,
it.
I can
And
take
I don't
responsibility
care
for
who
it.
it is, but just somebody. Okay.
I can take responsibility for it.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, is there discussion? All right, looks like we're ready to vote. All right, all those in favor? All right, and it is unanimous, and the motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
One more second, Craig. Just while he's still here, just for a topic of future meeting, Craig and I actually happened to just touch base the other day that we want to actually bring up, how would we phrase this? The advertising at the fields. It definitely warrants a larger discussion. I think Craig had some really good ideas that he wants to bring, but while he's here, I want to make sure.
Is that
So last
Little League, or is that the
Yeah, so
football?
that's
or
where it's sort of
football?
stemming from. That Little League has actually reached out to me too about trying to bring it up as a future agenda item, but then in speaking to Craig about something else, it came up the other day, and then we just said end up in a larger discussion that he made some really good points, and we probably want to start this conversation now.
Okay.
Looking for next year, as well as sort of immediately in the spring.
Okay, I wrote it down as
Did
a
I do a good job explaining that?
topic for a future
All right,
meeting. Okay. All right.
All right, now you can go.
I'll say it.
Thank you.
very
Thank you,
much.
Craig.
Thank you.
Guys, have a great night.
Okay. All right, next we have the amended school calendar, which I think we discussed last time. Did you have something you wanted to say?
No, this is just I just wanted to bring this back to the group. We made one addition to the calendar. You had already approved it, and I wanted to bring it back because we've gotten request after request after request to add September 7th, opening day kindergarten. So if you look in the circle, so we have added that so that people can have that one-stop shop. And I just wanted to make sure that you are aware of that and revote approval if we need to.
Does anyone have a question? Michelle Bailey, you look like you have a question.
I have no recollection of ever hearing that before in my life.
I feel like we discussed it at a meeting, did we not?
No, it's the first time it's been on.
Maybe I had
My
it.
tenure.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
No, I mean, no, that, it was not on before, no, but I felt like we mentioned at a meeting, no, that we were going to bring this, okay.
No.
Oh, that doesn't seem like something that the school committee votes on.
Well, the reason it's on here is because it was, and it may not be, however, last year when we changed some of the wording in the center column, we did vote on it, and we were changing the calendar, which we had voted on. It didn't change the date, it's just that it's changing the document that we had approved. So I agree that it's probably out of an abundance of caution, but.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that stuff in the middle, like the holidays and stuff, that's actually because the superintendent has an obligation to notify the staff of that. It's not anything that we have a say over. So.
And this really is just an effort to be better communicating.
Because it is a big surprise. It's a big surprise to kindergarten parents that their kids do not start on the first day of school.
Right.
It's a big surprise.
Right. So it really is something that just appears to be best practices to add that bit of information to the calendar, but it hasn't been on there.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have a motion? Can we have a motion?
I move that we approve the changes to the Hamilton Wenham Regional School District calendar for 2022-2023.
Second.
Second by Anna Seidzick. Looks like we are ready to vote. All right. All those in favor? And that is unanimous, and the motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay. Vinny, is this you?
Yep.
The assistant treasurer?
Yes.
I was just emailing Jen the motion.
Oh, excellent.
So tonight I'm seeking your approval to appoint a new assistant district treasurer. We were accepting applicants for approximately 2 weeks. During that time frame, we only received about 2 applicants. Sorry, I'm looking for my notes. So Catherine stood out because of her current duties working in the treasurer's office for the town of Ipswich. There she works as the collections clerks and performs nearly the same duties that we require for this position. In addition, Catherine worked for nearly 20 years in the Ipswich Ford Finance Office. So she comes to us with nearly 23 years of experience. Now, just to remind you, this position is mainly used as a backup to our current treasurer if they can't make it in on the specific day we run payroll, which is every other Wednesday. So it's a small position. We pay a flat salary of $5,000 annually, which will be prorated for the first fiscal year. And lastly, this is an annual appointment, so come that last meeting in June, I'll be coming back to ask you for another appointment for fiscal year 23, along with a request to appoint our current treasurer, Kevin Mers, to another annual position.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone we didn't make a motion already, right? Did you say there's a specific wording of the motion?
I sent the wording to
Okay.
Jen.
Can I ask how to pronounce that last name?
Lavoy.
Lavoy, okay.
Okay, all right. Jen, to you.
I move that the Hamilton Wenham Regional School Committee approve Catherine Lavoy as the Assistant District Treasurer for the Hamilton Wenham School District as recommended by Mr. Leone.
Second.
Second by Anna Seidzick. Are there any questions? Michelle?
Did you say she's currently working for the town of Ipswich?
Correct.
So how does that work with the joint loyalties to a municipality thing?
It'll be the same kind of document Kevin had to agree to.
Okay. So some sort of disclosure of some sort? Great.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay. All right, looks like we're ready to vote. All right, all those in favor? And that is unanimous, and the motion passes. Okay. All right, and we're on to policy. Are you, Anna?
I think it's me.
Okay.
So the three policies that we're looking at tonight for first reading were heavily driven by the MASC and the Attorney General's office. So previously, we had several different non-discrimination policies, harassment policies. There was the issue of all the protected classes being kind of all over the map, and the Attorney General's office was also concerned about that. So over the last year or so, the MASC and the Attorney General's office had been looking to standardize that and bring it into accordance with both state and federal law. So what we have is a replacement for two existing policies that we had. So AC has been changed from our current AC to be a new version, and there's an additional AC-R, which previously had not existed, that does exist now. And then similarly, policy ACAB, which we approved due to changes in Title IX, has been changed again. So now there's a new version of ACAB. So what this is just sort of bringing our harassment policies into alignment with the new MASC versions at the direction of the Attorney General.
So thank you for that, because that answered a lot of my questions, actually. Because we approved these the sort of analogous policies less than a year ago.
True.
Okay. So
affirmative.
All right. So I was a little bit confused. So what happens?
Well, do we want to make
When
a
do they
motion?
get in?
Make a motion? And then have discussion, or no?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we can make. Well,
Sorry.
There's no motion to make, because...
we're not,
no.
we're
Okay.
just right. We're just. It's only a first reading, so we're going to bring them back again.
Sure.
So, what's the process here in terms of, because you said some of these were replacing and some of them were revising. I mean, some of them were adding a new policy and some of them were revising. So when, if we were to vote on it, does it take place in September?
I'll defer to Eric on this, but my impression of what Dorothy is describing is that once we approve these, we should approve them to take effect immediately, because there have been changes in the laws themselves that are different, so.
So I actually, if there's changes in the law, they're actually already in effect, and our policy needs to catch up to it.
Right, in a way.
Yeah.
Which would be why we're bringing them sort of now as this
Right,
outlier.
it's-
And to your point, we approved all of the As last year, so unless we brought them as a one-off, we don't have a batch of As to bring. We were sort of settled, and then this has been this lingering thing. So just to be clear, and I can double-check my policy notes for the next time, but so there is a current policy of AC that is in effect. So this would be replaced by the new AC and the ACR. ACA, which is non-discrimination on the basis of sex, does not change. That remains as is. ACAB would be replaced with the new ACAB, and then the final policy is ACE, non-discrimination on the basis of disability. That also does not change. So two of them remain in effect, and then we have two other policies that are now shifting to be three policies. And yes, it was very confusing for everyone involved, and thank God for Dorothy Presser. That's all I have to say.
Like, I know what you're talking about. My brain is
I'm appreciative of you saying that it was confusing, because I was in fact confused.
Well, and if
I have one more question.
Well, so, and I just want to say one other thing too. It does also solve the issue that we had in the handbook of why are there so many different versions of these protected classes, that is now gone away. There is one listing of classes, and it has been vetted and approved, and again, we were not the only district that was struggling with that, so.
So, okay, so there's two questions. That, in the coming years, you're saying that then that, if these were to be approved, then that list of protected classes would be the list that we would try to use throughout the district. Is that what you're saying?
That is my understanding, that this solves that problem.
Okay.
Eric, do you agree with that? I mean,
Yeah, I do.
yep, okay.
In some policies, there are some differences because the policies are say specific to gender or sex, so they really limit them. But Dorothy Presser has done an amazing amount of work going back and forth, trying to figure out what has to be included and not. So I think we have it now, that we'll have to go back through when we reapprove handbooks later in the school year to change all those and update them, so they're all on the same page.
So the main part is that it's clear to the outside reader, right? Because we know that whatever the largest list of protected classes are is the list we go by, right? So if a particular policy happens to be outdated and has a smaller list, that doesn't mean that those people are excluded from the coverage of that policy. So what this actually does is just clarify the wording. And then, from that point, we now have a master list to go from, where it'll make it easier to actually, update handbooks. This is actually a policy committee working efficiently, right? The fact that you're jumping ahead, and it's only a year, but you're keeping up with that. Before, the way things were sort of tied together and why we actually went through all of this, going through this whole large rigmarole, it was because we couldn't keep up with the way things were sort of duct taped together before. So, the fact that, we approved this a year ago and we're already updating the language is a good sign, right? So even as confusing as it is, just throwing out all these different initials at people, but it's a very good thing.
Thank you. Michelle? Oh, I'm sorry, Jen, I didn't see you. I should go ahead.
So is the only change in these policies the wording of the protected classes? Because usually we get a red line so that we understand that, and there's no red line here. Is it pretty much a whole new policy? What is the story here?
There were some other changes. They were sort of fully rewritten. And again, I need to go back to my notes, but I think it was ACAB, the current ACAB, which I'm going to pull up real quick. ACAB. So the current ACAB is just entitled harassment, generally speaking. That's the current ACAB. The new ACAB has been made specific to sexual harassment. So that's a change. So because of that, it is different. The policy itself is different. So I don't think the red line it's a whole new policy. So you could scrap the entirety of the old ACAB and replace it with this one.
And what about AC?
So AC used to be, again, these are, sorry. Yeah, AC used to be non-discrimination generically, and now it is non-discrimination, including harassment and retaliation. So there's other new sections, and then there's an additional amendment to that has the AC-R, that's sort of a definition section, and breaks it out even further. And AC-R previously didn't exist at all. That's brand new in this review.
I think it's difficult to analyze things when you don't have them side by side with what the exact changes were. And I know when you're in the policy working group, you're quite familiar with those because you're going back and forth. But for other committee members to know what was changed is very difficult. And for us to go back to the policy and then compare it word for word. So it would be helpful to either have a red line or have a statement somewhere like at the top that completely replaces or something like that. So, yeah.
It's
hard.
I'm going to jump in on that and say that I think I'm going to offer that what would be helpful from the policy committee would be when it comes back, maybe, I think what Anna actually said out loud, if we had that written down, it would be helpful. So where you sort of explained, we're replacing AC with a newer version, AC-R is a completely new policy, we're replacing a new version of ACAB.
Yep, yep.
I think that would be helpful to have written down so that when we're trying to actually, like, it sounds like that ACR is actually a new policy that we don't need to be comparing anything to.
Yeah, there's nothing to compare that
Even
to.
though it felt very tied up with some of these when we were trying to review. So that might be helpful to just sort of tease that out as this is a new policy
Yeah.
versus these two things are replacements.
Well, and there are going to be whole paragraphs that are just new, so, but I could annotate with some comments and
Yeah.
say, this is similar, and try to highlight things.
Hard to prepare because you don't know what exactly it is you're supposed to be looking at.
So I guess a really good way to think about this is there's going to be at least 2 new people, if not
Yeah.
3, sitting here trying to vote on this for the second reading. How would you put together notes for them? That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for future practice, Anna, like Michelle said, the redlining, which, I should.
Yeah, in my mind, I was thinking they're so different that the red line wasn't necessary, but I think in context, yeah.
And just one more, so for, and I'm sorry, I'm going to wait because I think Jen had her hand up very patiently. Go ahead, Jen.
So I think what threw me off with these initially is that they have the same title.
The same acronym title, because the title.
Discrimination policy, including harassment and retaliation, is the title of AC and ACR. So until I read them, I assumed I was getting 2 drafts of an A and a B. This was the original, this one was the second. Is there some way to delineate those quickly so somebody can say, okay, this is a policy having to do with X, and this new policy has to do with Y?
Yeah, the R is the part that makes it different. It's sort of like a sub, it's the AC is the high level, and then ACR is getting into more detail, still under the same topic.
But
There should be a different title.
it seems like AC doesn't have the harassment and retaliation portion per se, but ACR does.
I could go back to the MASC and ask. I mean, they came from them that way.
Okay. It might just be me. I'm not a policy, I haven't been working in policy, but I had to okay, these 2 have the same title, but this little AC is different.
I don't know if Michelle knows this. If AC-R is a sub-policy to AC, do they not have to have the same title? Because they're all part of this, because they're not really 2 different policies. They're related to each other.
No, because I think there's other ones like that, then they have different names.
Yeah, ADDA is a good example. That one has 2 different names. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the same name.
Yeah, you should come up with a different name.
Okay.
Or just a better
Even if it's
descriptor.
just you add something to it.
Right, even if it just says sub-policy in parentheses,
Yeah,
just so that it's clear that
exactly.
it's.
Sub-policy would work.
Or detail or
Yeah.
Right, well, think about when you'd want to be using it, right? And how you'd actually want to use this as a reference point, what you'd be looking up. So I could see, even if it's a subheading under R, right? So you can even keep the same thing, but there's this subheading.
I wonder if the R means references in some way, because the substance of it
Even
is
if we
just.
add that.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of it is the definitions. This is good. I can definitely write up some notes and try to find out what they're called and perhaps see if we need to change them to make it clearer what they are, so.
I mean, because all of these letters are a Dewey Decimal System of board policy, so why did they put the R there? So just, instead of putting it within the policy itself.
Right.
And then that's your answer. Whatever R stands for, you put at the end.
Yeah, well, there's several policies that we went through that are like that, that had a name policy and then a -R.
Yeah. Okay.
And the Rs were all are explanatory. It's.
Right, so it's, be great to know whether it means, whatever it means, resources.
I think everyone just wants to be on policy subcommittee is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a lot of interest in policy subcommittee.
Done it.
Stick with financing.
The ACAB, I just want to make clear, and I think it's my impression from our conversations that the one is really driven most by changes in the law itself. I mean, it was changed before and it was changed again, and we sort of knew that was going to be changing. So, and I think that one is so heavily tied to Title IX. There, I can ask for more definitions on that, but there might be parts of that I wouldn't say we can't change because it's our policy, but I think we would be well advised to sort of take the MASC's and AG's work on this. So I will also just ask about that one too, about the changes specifically, because I think there are a lot of them and they're coming to the MASC from an even higher level than the state level. So.
All right, I had one more question for the policy committee there on that, which is, you guys did not wordsmith this. This came directly from MASC.
I don't think we changed any part of it, did we? Not these.
Okay.
That seemed ill-advised to us.
I see Michelle has a question. Jen, did you have a follow-up question?
Nope.
Okay, Michelle.
So, let's see, this is April. So about 5 months ago, the Hamilton and the Wenham Human Rights Committees, Commissions, whatever, they are in their designated town, had made a public statement calling on the school district to do some things with some certain protected classes. And not all of those are included in this, and I was just curious about that, if anybody knows.
Which ones are missing?
I know for certain there's one having to do with, like criminal status or something of that
Ex-offender status?
That's the word.
So the list that's here, and Eric, if you want to jump in here at all, my understanding the list that's here, this is to conform with changes at the state and federal level, and one of the things that I think is different, I'll go back to the red line. So the list is longer than it had been: race, color, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, religion, disability, age, genetic information, active military veteran status, marital status, familial status, pregnancy or pregnancy-related conditions, homelessness, ancestry, ethnic background, national origin, and I think this might be the thing that you're getting to, or any other category protected by state or federal law. I think the addition of the or any other category is a little bit of the wild card there. So I'm not sure if we're prohibited from adding it specifically, or if it's intended to be covered by the or any other category, but that's a question I can ask. I'm not sure if, Eric, you have another thought about that, but.
Yeah, the limitations become when you go into something like employment discrimination versus this policy, there are other obstacles, if you will, or other things that you can add, but they don't get specifically added to the harassment side of it. It's mostly the discrimination of employment based on offender record, or there was another one, I can't remember. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I can't remember the second one that was a little bit different.
So the question is to ask about ex-offender status. Is there another protected class that you want me to look into?
No, my question is that there was a call to action to the district, and that is not in this policy, so I just wanted to be sure that it was clearly stated that that was the decision of the district, was to choose these classes.
Or in this case, just adopt the list of classes given to us through the channel. Okay.
Right. That the list of classes that was called for may not have been the appropriate list for the school district. These were the appropriate list.
I mean, I think based on everything that Dorothy said about how hard they worked on it, this was actually, interestingly, a standing policy agenda item for the last 6 months. We kept talking about it, and it was only in the last couple of weeks that the MASC, I think it was, what did we determine, March 3rd, there was an email in all of our inboxes that said, hooray, the MASC has finally finished their review of this. So that might be a good thing actually for me to attach the next time we talk about it, is the language that the MASC used to describe the changes. But that all happened recently, and I know that this section was heavily reworked with the Attorney General's office to make sure that it was the right group for the right reasons, but I do think that the addition of the or any other, I mean, that literally means or any other protected class by state or federal law, which is those words I think mean exactly what they say, so. Okay, what else? This is good. This is a lot of work for the next time, but it's good.
Okay. Do we have anything else on this? And it sounds like we will need to be thoughtful about when we bring this back. We've got to reconstitute, and there's going to be a little gap here.
Yeah, and it sounds like there needs to be, sort of in the same way that Craig puts together a memo or the superintendent has a memo, it sounds like there needs to be a memo to some degree, which I think probably would also need to be approved by the policy subcommittee in its new form before it comes back, I would think. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. To you.
I just want to chime in on one thing that Michelle Bailey just talked about. That post was originally posted on the Town of Wenham website, and when I inquired about it, they took it down. So I don't know why, but when I just asked, how come it got there, but we never saw it, they took it down. So if somebody has that, or if we can get that info, I just can't remember what the other pieces were to be able to investigate it a little more.
Thank you for saying that, because I believe that is accurate. I don't believe it was actually submitted to the school committee. I believe
No, that's why I asked about it.
It was posted on the Wenham, but I don't think it was actually, not that, I mean, it's still a valid point, but I do think that is a subtle difference, I think.
It was posted on the website, it was voted in a meeting, and it was a call to action to the committee. The fact that it wasn't communicated to the committee is a little bit weird.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that it wasn't.
I'm like searching for something right now.
No, it's no longer there, and to the best of my knowledge, I certainly never received it, and so.
Would it be in the minutes if it was voted on?
Yes.
I'm looking on their website now to see if it's.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we can move.
Okay.
I think we can move forward.
We can dig on it a little bit.
All right, to you, Eric.
To me. Okay. Realistically, I got my one big item out of the way with Luke. It was, that
tough one, huh?
That was a tough one, right?
Right, because what about the sister? I mean, seriously, you picked one twin, like.
Amazing, right? It's,
Actually, where's Luke going to school?
Isn't decided yet.
he and a number of other seniors are still juggling a little bit. It's funny, this far into the season, they usually have some.
It's actually a pretty common thing this year, it seems.
Yeah, our kids are wrestling a little bit with their choices, being a little more specific about their choices, and I think like a lot of the kids I've talked to, some of them are waiting for their deferred.
Yeah.
And some of the things our kids are going up against this year are related to kids that deferred last year. So the pool has been much bigger this year for the.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, there were a number of kids, there was a large number of kids across the nation who deferred going to college last year, but their acceptance was still valid for this year. So basically, if they chose to go to, say, Harvard, their seat was held, and then they were expected to commit at some point. So those, the usual number of seats, I think, was less this year because of all of that rollover from last year's avoidances, if you will. Yeah, so it's been interesting. It's been, every time I see seniors, where are you going? I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to go next week. They're still visiting places.
Right.
They're still going. I mean, I talked to a senior on Monday morning that's still going to visit this coming weekend, and then during vacation, and they want to make sure. And I think that's great because,
awesome.
As you know, with the college pick, I had 2 so far go to college, and the first one went 10 hours away, and we made the drive to make sure that she really wanted to be 10 hours away from home, and she did. So, but everything turned out well, and she came back home. But, you know, it's good that kids are putting, and families, I think, are putting that much time into it just because the money is
It's a
outrageous.
$250,000 investment.
Yeah, it's literally going to cost you $250,000 now to send your kids to school. So I do want to take a moment to thank Stacy Busick and the DEIB committee publicly. They really are doing a lot of work. They've been working with setting up focus groups and setting up surveys, and unfortunately getting a lot of pushback about these surveys. I think there's a lot of fear in the community that something's up, but we made the surveys available today. People were upset because we wouldn't email them the survey, and we didn't want to taint the survey, and that's the big piece behind it. So I think it's important to know that surveys are available, student surveys are available. We are willing to let you come to the central office and review them, and a number of people did this evening and today and took advantage of that, so we appreciate that. And then once it's given and we get it out, then we can release it. We'll release it publicly. It's just right now, we just want to be able to see and measure how our kids feel about being in our schools, and I think that's important information to get accurate, because we're going to move into strategic planning and starting to kind of stretch out some of the goals that we're working on this year. They'll stretch into next year, and I think it's important for us to keep it as accurate as possible. And there's been just a little bit of pushback, and I want people to understand that we are not out to hide anything or do anything inappropriate. The surveys are available, and we want to be as open as possible without kind of tainting the final data, so that we can make good decisions about how to respond to the needs of all of our kids, and that's the important piece here. And you know, it's again, there are focus groups coming up. So there'll be invites to community people to come to the focus groups, student focus groups, same types of conversations. How do you feel in school? How are you treated? Do you have somebody you feel comfortable going to if you need to? Those are the types of things that we're asking of our kids. But you know, I just wanted to address that. I don't want to leave that out there, and I will address it further in writing. I just want to be able to put that out there here, so that everybody's aware that we're just continuing with that process. The equity audit will continue on all the way through into June. This is the final phase, if you will, April into May, and then everything gets assembled, and the audit will get presented to us at some point in June. And we'll use that as a piece of the puzzle to do our future planning for strategic planning. So, yeah,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Okay.
Just to remind ourselves, the school committee version of those same surveys, I think, is due tomorrow. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So if you could do it, it'd be great.
Can be like end of day tomorrow?
Done.
I forgot one thing.
Wait, I think I did the parent one. Do I have to do a different one?
Yeah,
There's a school committee
They
one.
sent it to the school committee.
They're-
Yeah, it's in your school committee.
It was an email from Stacy.
No, I think I did like
Yeah.
2 for my kids and.
Yeah, no, there was one that was
Yeah, there's one for
specifically tailored
specific.
for the school committee.
If we do that.
And it's not that large a group. They
It's in
might,
the
they might
school-
notice if
my
you
school
don't do
committee
it.
address?
Yes.
Okay.
Is end of day okay, or do I need to stay up all night to do
Day
it?
is fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Eric, did you have one more thing?
Yep.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I have it. Sorry. Ugh. Sorry.
I do want to take a moment to announce that we have negotiated and finalized a contract for our Cutler principal selection. Julianna Schneider is the selection for the principalship. She comes with us with 19 years of elementary experience, serving as a classroom teacher, an assistant principal, and for the last 4 years, she's been a principal of an elementary school. And it's important to note that when you go back to the surveys from the parents and the teachers, it was very specific. They wanted somebody who had extensive classroom experience at the elementary level and experience at the administrative level, specifically principalship, and then also literacy experience. Juliana brings all of that. She has a bachelor's degree in communication from Simmons, master's in elementary ed from Leslie. She's currently the principal of Merriam School in Acton Boxborough. She's a member of the instructional leadership team, school council, teacher council, curriculum committee, child study team, and student support team. And at the district level, she's a member of the senior leadership team, the district leadership team, and the district safety committee, and the district technology committee. So she's pretty busy, pretty active and connected, and we're excited to bring Juliana on board. She did a great job in her interviews. We had her sit and meet parents, and that really went well, and the feedback was really strong for Juliana. So we'll welcome Juliana. She's going to come and sign her papers, I think, next week.
Awesome.
So.
Awesome, wonderful.
Congratulations.
With July 1 start?
Yes, July 1, yep.
Okay, thank you. All right, committee reports. Capital Finance?
We haven't met since last time.
All right. Policy?
Same.
Okay. Negotiations, we are continuing our negotiations with the custodial union, and we've done a lot of hard work. We are not finished, so we mutually decided with them to make our next meeting in May because of the transition that will be going on in the school committee. And that is May 16th was our next meeting, I believe. Okay, is anyone having questions on any of that? Okay. Well, the one thing that I did want to say in my chair's report, which hasn't gotten mentioned this evening, is I wanted to say that at town meetings over the weekend, I want to acknowledge that, first of all, that was wonderful that we passed the budget, both town meetings. And Eric, I want to thank you for your presentation. It was clear and concise. And Vinny, thank you so much for all you did to make it so that the feedback we got, I think everyone saw the feedback we got, was that this was a really transparent and collaborative process. And thank you both very much. Right. I do not think I have anything else on my chair's report. I don't think. Topics for future meetings. I had one already from you, David. Anybody else have a topic for a future meeting?
Not a new one.
Not a new one. I have yours.
I'm not going to be here. You can talk whatever you want.
Let's see, nothing.
All right. If that's it, then we're ready.
Wow.
I vote to adjourn.
Oh, Michelle didn't do it. Michelle Bailey didn't do it for
Who's
once.
going to second that?
Second.
That's a second by Michelle Bailey. Okay.
Yay!
Wait, all those in favor? Aye. Michelle,
Aye.
vote aye. All right, there we go. All right, we are adjourned.
Final? Final?
For one,